Good morning, Nigerians. It's another beautiful day in the capital city of Abuja. And it's our pleasure to have you join us again on this beautiful program, Weekend Deal, on the network service of the NTA. We started discussions yesterday on silent killer diseases, and we'll continue on that today. Yesterday, we had some useful discussions on how to prevent being taken away unaware by these killer diseases. And today, we'll still do justice to that with some experts in the house. And I have a co-presenter here. Lizzie is in the house.
Oh, definitely. When you speak of health, you can't find me anywhere else except the venue where it is happening, because I want to live longer than Methuselah, yes. And I know that a lot of times, the first thing we think about when we wake up is stretch. And if you can do it, that's a sign of good health. Some people cannot do it because something, one way or the other, is obstructing them. And sometimes one of those things that obstruct us is our lifestyle, including the fatty acid, fatty liver acid, or whatever it is called. I don't know, but I can call it in my layman's term. That's the cholesterol, right? Yeah. So we're going to have feature, telling us about that. We also have a doctor expressing all of that. But then, to put us in the right frame of mind, let's join Francis Ogwe for that.
Though Nigerians are facing all kinds of challenges, more dangerous threats are posed by health issues. Various reports and data have shown that more people die each year from silent killer diseases.
Silent killer diseases are diseases that normally the fire is burning and the victim does not even know actually that the fire is on. And at the end of the day, the patient succumbs to that disease. So we call it silent killer because of lack of awareness. And what contributes majorly to this is because of our health-seeking behavior, which means that a patient does not go to hospital for routine check until the patient is down with one illness or the other. Or sometimes something that is coming up, and patient wave it with hand and saying, maybe just a mild headache. So he doesn't know that the body is already giving him warning that something very sinister is about to happen.
While the silent killer diseases find comfortable place in Nigeria due to different factors, most unsuspecting patients are innocently ignorant of what is ravaging their health.
There are some few diseases that we call silent killers. And those diseases are majorly heart disease, hypertension, diabetes, and more of global interest now is cancer. Because of cancer has killed more patients than all the things that we know about HIV put together.
The growth of fatty liver disease in the body is gradual and has no significant trace initially, which makes it a silent killer. There are two types of fatty liver illnesses: alcoholic and non-alcoholic fatty liver disease.
All these things are the risk factor that triggers that heart disease we are talking about, that hypertension we are talking about, then changes in the liver that leads to liver cirrhosis and primary liver cancer. We have that of renal cancer, cancer of the kidney, which is another one, the silent killer. It is that it will be there because you have two kidneys, your other kidney is compensating, so you may not even know there's a growth in the other kidney. So it is going to be at the advanced stage whereby it has already spread to the system that most patients present.
Because of the prevalence of silent killer diseases, citizens are advised to go for medical checkup at least twice a year, even when they feel very healthy. Following a good diet, maintaining a healthy routine, and investing in wholesome lifestyle practices cannot be overstated.
For you to have a better management of what we are discussing, the silent killer, in them is we must have better management of what we take in. Therefore, good dietary control through a balanced diet. That diet that you take that contains some of the essential nutrients the body wants. Coming to dietary modification, you can see that most patients that develop type 2 diabetes, that's adult diabetes, adult type diabetes, that dietary modification tend to control it very, very much. The exercise helps you to burn off excess calorie. Because a man who is obese or who is doing a lot of sedentary work and doesn't burn off this excess calorie tend to develop obesity. So, but when you burn off excess calorie that are not needed, the body tends to be firmer and you tend to be lighter and do your work without any hindrance.
There are many people who walk around believing they are healthy, but they are not.
For people who are working like you, what you need to do is that from time to time, you should be doing a routine check on your blood pressure. Then from time to time, you will be going to see a doctor. You say, why are you here, Frank? You say, I just come for routine health check. From there, they will do some baseline tests that will show either have heart problem or you are completely free of any form of some of these silent killers.
Therefore, our focus on Weekend Deal today will be on silent killer diseases.
Silent killer disease. And many people walk around and they are not actually well. And that is why this discussion is really important. And it's important to do medical checkup. That is what the doctors are telling us. Even if you feel well, just go for a check. But we have the doctor in the house, Dr. Agnes Egwege, a gastroenterologist. I hope I call it well. Yes. Gastroenterologist, who will tell us more about these killer diseases. But before we go down with the discussion, let's quickly have this feature from Lagos Network Center on fatty liver disease, which is one of the silent killers.
Virus diseases like HIV and AIDS and COVID-19 has come to be the most mentioned and dreaded infections many Nigerians fear today. But there is a third, and that is hepatitis, an inflammation of the liver. And many Nigerians are yet to understand the dangerous rate at which the disease can cause national pandemic.
And we have about 5 types of it. We have hepatitis A, B, C, D, and E. And while they all cause liver disease, they differ in important ways like mode of transmission, severity of the illness, geographical distribution, and also prevention methods. And in particular, hepatitis B and C leads to chronic disease in hundreds and millions of people around the world. And then it also leads to, they are mainly the cause of liver cirrhosis and liver cancer.
But for clarity, hepatitis virus is an infectious disease of global significance, causing momentous health burden in African countries due to complications associated with the infection. And yet, it has not received much needed attention like COVID-19 and AIDS.
Given the silent nature of the virus, most people do not come to know that they have the disease until it reaches an advanced stage. In fact, most cases are just detected during random blood screening. So because of this, people they don't really experience any symptoms. They hardly go to the hospital. So the survival rate depends on whether the disease is detected at an early stage or at a late stage. If it's detected at an early stage, the disease is not actually curable, but it's manageable with drugs. So it can be treated with drugs that can keep the disease under control.
So it is important to note the types that are predominantly affecting Nigerians.
Hepatitis B is considered the most prevalent in Nigeria. It is preventable, also transmitted through infected blood, bodily semen, sexual intercourse also from an infected mother to child.
However, one may argue that more awareness is needed to alert Nigerians on how to prevent the disease, as well as the symptoms they should look out for.
And some of the symptoms include yellowish discoloration of the skin, yellowish and eyes, dark urine, abdominal pain, fever, weakness, fatigue, weight loss, and even loss of appetite. So hepatitis B is not curable, but it's manageable, it's vaccine preventable. So I advise Nigerians to go to the hospital for their routine checkups, and it should stick to their regular medical advice.
It's similar to HIV, but I don't think hepatitis in general is being emphasized on the public in general, like HIV and even COVID-19. So I think we need more emphasis on the mode of transmission and then the ways of preventing this infection, because it's very common in the public.
The global theme for the 2022 commemoration of World Hepatitis Day is bringing hepatitis care closer to the people, which is part of government and non-governmental organizations' renewed commitment to hepatitis care. But more media advocacies and campaigns can be hugely impactful in combating this silent killer.
All right, we still have Dr. Agnes Egwagie, a gastroenterologist, with us in the house. And while that was going on, we were still trying to educate me on one or two things around hepatitis. And I said, this is scary. And I'm sure a lot of Nigerians are saying the same thing. Perhaps you just have to share the answers you're trying to give to me with the rest of the world.
Okay, I think, well, for a brief, people should know what hepatitis is. And then before we go into some of those issues that people get confused about, the most important part of hepatitis is the viral hepatitis. Now, hepatitis is a broad term, just meaning an inflammation in the liver. But what we're more interested in is the viral hepatitis, and there are several viruses that cause viral hepatitis, labeled A to E. The ones that cause diseases that result in damage to the liver and problems are the hepatitis B and C. Now, these ones are got through transmission through blood products, mother to child, sexual contact, sharing of sharps, and the likes. Okay, so the important thing about these two viral hepatitis is they have the tendency to cause chronic illnesses in which the patient has the virus but shows no symptoms for many years. And as the years progress, the virus damages the liver. And at the time symptoms start to show, the person might be far gone and very little or nothing can be done for the patient. So that's why it's important we talk about testing. And then for hepatitis B, there's vaccination. So if you are negative, you should take your vaccination. Thankfully, in the immunization schedule for the babies, the hepatitis B vaccination is there. So they get that. But for adults, we advise that you go for testing, and if you're negative, get your vaccination. If you're positive for hepatitis B or C, then you go to see the specialist for proper evaluation and treatment. A lot of confusing things come up about hepatitis, like we were discussing earlier. Some people say, oh, once you have hepatitis, don't eat oil, don't eat protein. Not necessarily so. Okay, the presence of viral hepatitis in itself does not mean you should not eat your normal balanced diet. We only put restrictions when there's an extent of liver damage and the liver cannot cope with some of the function. Yes, so we put in some restrictions at that point. But for the generality of people who have viral hepatitis, we do not put restrictions if there are no evidence of severe liver damage occurring.
Okay, so where are we in Nigeria as regards hepatitis? As in the number of Nigeria statistics, number of Nigerians, or the prevalence of the disease in Nigeria?
Yeah, so the latest prevalence in Nigeria for hepatitis B is about 8.1%, which is an improvement from maybe 10 years ago when it was about 14%. Okay, national average. There are some areas in the country, like Nasarawa State and some other states in the north that have higher prevalence, almost up to 20% for hepatitis B. But the national average has dropped to about 8.1%, and this we think is attributable to the infant
Awareness.
Vaccinations, and then there's some level of awareness, and some people are also taking measures to curb the disease. For the hepatitis C also, we also recorded a drop in the percentage over the years, and it's just about 2.1% now for hepatitis C. So, but of course, if you multiply this by the number of population, you see that you still have a large number of people
yes,
who are positive for these diseases, and majority of people do not know. Some who know cannot afford or do not know where to go for treatment. Yeah, so it's still a great burden
for all of us.
Yes, for
you
all
know,
of us.
I just feel like shutting down the show right now, changing this setting to a lab place, and asking all Nigerians to come and do checks. Maybe that way we find out who has it and who has not. But then, enough of hepatitis for now. Let's go back to where we took off last time before the doctor began to speak. That was on fatty liver diseases from Lagos. Let's see that feature. We'll be right back and just some more.
The liver is the largest organ in the abdomen, located on the right side of the abdomen, and it does about 500 functions in the body every day, some of which include bile production and secretion, excretion of bilirubin, cholesterol, hormones, enzyme activation, storage of glycogen, vitamins, synthesis of plasma proteins, metabolism of fats, proteins, and carbohydrates, to mention but a few. The inability of the liver to metabolize fats can result into abnormal accumulation of fats in the liver, causing what is known as fatty liver disease. Specialists in the field of medicine shed light on the disease.
So the liver has a percentage of fat that it should not go above, and when it's more than that, it's called fatty liver disease. There are generally two types of fatty liver disease. You have the one from alcohol and the one that is not from alcohol. So the one from alcohol is called alcoholic liver disease or alcoholic fatty liver disease. And the one that is not from alcohol is called non-alcoholic fatty liver disease.
So for alcohol related, it means that large amounts of consumption of alcohol can cause fat accumulation in liver. And the one that is caused by non-alcohol will include overweight or obesity. It can be caused by poorly controlled or treated diabetes mellitus. That is diseases that the body does not control the sugar content in them. Can be caused by drugs like steroids, can be caused by infections like hepatitis, starvation, prolonged fasting can also cause abnormal accumulation of fat in the liver.
Predisposition to fatty liver disease and major risk factors varies in terms of age and gender. Experts has this to say.
Okay, so it's called silent killer because in the initial stages of the disease, in the early stage, there are no symptoms. Or usually there are no symptoms. The symptoms typically occur when the disease is advanced in the late stages. So, in other words, the person can be having damage to the liver and other tissues of the body without knowing. The person thinks he or she is well, is healthy. Meanwhile, excess fat in the liver is killing the liver and killing the person gradually. Non-alcoholic fatty liver disease affects about 25% of the adult population worldwide. So that's 1 in 4 people. So of every 4 people, one of them has, at least one of them has non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. The first stage is fatty liver. Fatty liver as in this excess fat in the liver. That excess fat may not be damaging the liver. The second stage is when the excess fat starts to damage the liver, okay? What we call steatohepatitis. Then from that stage, the liver starts to respond to the damage caused by the fat and starts to get scarred, like when you have a wound and you have a scar. That is called fibrosis, and that can continue and cause liver cirrhosis. And in some patients, liver cirrhosis can actually lead to liver cancer. In some people, the liver cirrhosis can also cause liver failure, or what we call liver decompensation. So those are the stages that the patient will have symptoms.
Do Lagosians know about fatty liver disease, and of what importance is the investigation?
I have not seen anybody that has it before. I have not even seen one.
Yes, I've heard about it. And then we know anything that concerns the liver or the respiratory organ, it's something that needs to be taken care of.
Most times they don't know they have this illness. Some of them found them incidentally, or probably they go for an abdominal scan, investigation for something else, and they find out that they have fat in the liver. Or some have some complaints like pain around the liver that I've described, the right side of the abdomen, or they have abnormal tests that warrants the doctors to do more tests to find out that they have fatty liver disease.
So pain over the right side of the upper abdomen. They might have yellow eyes. They might lose weight. In very advanced disease, they might vomit blood, stool blood, or black stools. Their stomach may swell. Or their relations may notice that they are behaving abnormally. Maybe they're not sleeping as well as before, or sleeping more than before, forgetting things, they are confused, they are talking with the person, asking about issues in Nigeria, and the person derails and starts talking about something totally different. So confusion, memory lapses, but those, like I said, those are symptoms that occur much later. It's important to also note at this stage that non-alcoholic fatty liver disease has been associated with heart problems, okay? What we call metabolic syndrome and cardiovascular risk. So in fact, people that have a fatty liver, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, the commonest cause of death is actually not even the liver, it's cardiovascular. Things like heart attack, heart failure, stroke, because it's associated with such cardiovascular heart conditions and diseases.
There is an adage that says health is wealth. Therefore, it is imperative to identify fatty liver disease symptoms and its treatment. Fatty liver disease are becoming global health problems in adults as well as in children. Therefore, as humans, care must be given to fatty liver disease risk factors if you must stay healthy.
Okay. I was just saying
so many issues are coming up concerning this silent killer diseases. As someone just said, that he has never seen anybody that has a fatty liver disease. And thank God we have a doctor in the house that is letting us to many of these issues as regard silent killer diseases. Dr. Agnes Eguage, a gastroenterologist, is still in the house. So, doctor, we just saw a feature about a fatty liver disease. What's the relationship between fatty liver disease and hepatitis, and what are the symptoms or difference between the symptoms of fatty liver disease and that of hepatitis?
Well, there's really no well, I wouldn't say there's no relationship, because as the feature said, there are two types. There's the non-alcoholic, there's the alcoholic. Now, apart from the typical non-alcoholic fatty liver disease we talk about, are those that are associated with what we call metabolic factors, obesity, cholesterol, diabetes. Okay, so but there is hepatitis C, which can also cause fat accumulation in the liver. Okay, sometimes B, but mainly C, can cause fat accumulation. So, but the entity we call non-alcoholic fatty liver disease is related to the metabolic diseases, diabetes and co. So most times when we say someone has non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, you need to rule out hepatitis as a cause of the fat in the liver. Rule out alcohol, rule out hepatitis, rule out any drugs the patient could have taken that could cause fat in the liver before we say that. When it comes to similarities in symptoms, as was heard earlier on, initially it's no symptoms, just the way hepatitis does. No symptoms initially until some damage has occurred. Now, when the damage has occurred, the symptoms are relatively similar because it's still the same process. You have damage to the liver responds to it, you have fibrosis, scarring, cirrhosis, and then later cancer. So by the time it gets to that stage, the symptoms are similar. You can have yellowness of the eyes, swelling of the stomach and the feet, loss of weight, easy bruising, the person bleeds easily, hits himself, or there's bleeding under the skin. So these things are similar in advanced liver disease from whatever cause.
I think hepatitis is a range of A to E.
Yes.
Okay, you spoke more about B and C. What about the A and E?
Yeah, so the A and E cause what we call acute hepatitis. So, and then they're not blood-borne. They are when you eat infected food, just the way you eat infected food, you get typhoid, you get diarrhea, cholera. Yes, so you get A and E that way. And usually when A and E is gotten, the person comes down with fever, yellowness of the eyes, weakness, and the body clears it. So what we just do for such patients is just supportive, ensure he has a lot of glucose, he has fluids, he has vitamins, the appropriate vitamins, and after a week or two, the body starts to clear it, and it doesn't remain in the person.
Oh, okay. So not as dangerous.
Yes, so that's why we are focusing more on B and C, because those are the ones that remain and damage the liver. For those ones, it gets cleared up, even though for a subset of people, they might have such an acute reaction to it, and they might have liver failure at that point. Okay, but usually what happens is that the body clears it, and it doesn't remain, it doesn't damage the liver subsequently.
All right, let's see if we can visit with our customers outside and talk some more. Say thanks for your good work. Question: how do you think the government can help positively diagnose patients for confirmatory tests, as cost is very expensive? This is from Lawrence in Chukuma. I guess he's asking, are there free areas we can, like you mentioned, children that do free vaccines for adults who have actually contracted it? Is there any support? Because you just told us that it's expensive.
So we actually trying to put in a lot of advocacy to the government to have some support. For now, the support is not really there, especially for instance, as you said, the confirmatory test, that's a viral load of the virus, is not covered by the NHIS, but some of the other investigations that are done are covered by the NHIS. The treatment is also not covered. For hepatitis C, there are 1 or 2 programs that are going on in some states where the drugs are discounted.
Subsidized.
Yes, subsidized for the patients. And I'm saying this because hepatitis C drugs tend to be very expensive, in the tune of over 100,000 a month. So there are some programs in some states, and they've able to drop it to about 30,000-40,000 a month for the patient. But that's still very expensive when you look at the general population. A lot of what is done now is mainly done by NGOs, free screening and vaccinations. So some NGOs go around trying to do that, to assist with that. But you screen someone, the person is positive. What next? Do you understand? So then the person is now left to go and try and find out, okay, if I go to a government hospital, if you don't have NHIS, most of your tests won't be covered. Even if you do, the more expensive viral load is not covered. Okay, so there's still ongoing talks between the Society for Gastroenterologists and Hepatologists and some other stakeholders, trying to see how we can partner with the government, pharmaceutical companies, and see how we can bring treatment and management of these diseases at a more affordable cost to the general population.
This is quite sad, because it's you get it, if you can't solve your problem, it becomes a death sentence. But then let's even move from curative and go to preventive. On a final note, Nigerians like to have it as an ABC. How can we push it away from ourselves?
Okay, for preventive, as I said,
lifestyle, really.
Yes, when it comes to lifestyle, we've talked about the vaccinations, which will prevent against B. For the lifestyle, it's still, I think we are very conversant with the HIV train of lifestyle modifications and all that. So first of all, avoid unprotected sexual intercourse, avoid sharing sharps with with people. We have up north, we have these traditional nail cutters and pedicurists that go around. To avoid them.
That's sound. That's their sound.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and then for avoid on contacts with infected people, and then of course screening should be done.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay. We've been speaking with Dr. Agnes Egwege, a gastroenterologist. And my takeaway from all she has said, the best is to prevent contracting hepatitis. Avoid unprotected sex, avoid sharing sharp objects, and don't get in contact with infected persons. Thank you very much, Doctor, for sharing all this with us this morning. We're still talking silent killer diseases. Okay, now we'll go to Ibadan. And we're talking about self-medication. This is something that we're all guilty about. You feel headache, you just say, okay, let me take paracetamol without even getting what is responsible for that. So let's go to Ibadan to get to see what self-medication, what they're saying about self-medication.
It is believed that ignorance is a disease. This wise statement is not far from the truth if it is compared with the high rate at which people die because of lack or insufficient exposure to authentic information that relates to human health. Statistics reveal how diseases like sleep apnea, atherosclerosis, cardiomyopathy, osteoporosis, and coronary heart disease, just to mention but a few, claim lives of individuals that do not have pre-knowledge about these silent killer diseases on daily basis.
Sometimes they may not present with any symptoms, and because they are not presenting with symptoms, the carrier of that disease might not be aware that that disease is present in his body, and as a result, this disease will go on destroying the body system of the host, which by the time the host realizes or is aware of the presence of that disease, the damage is done. Hepatitis B is very, very common in our environment, and it is said that 1 to 2 of every 5 Nigerians has hepatitis B infection.
Most of the victims of these diseases that attack the liver, which lead to inflammation, could have been rescued from their untimely death if the symptoms associated with these killer diseases were noticed at their early stages.
Like hepatitis, the person may have symptoms that might just look like normal malaria, symptoms like fever, loss of appetite, vomiting, so that may only be the symptoms until when the condition begin to become aggravated, that person will now have yellowness of the eye, abdominal distension. So I will advise that the person will go to hospital. When we have those kind of symptoms, so we should not trivialize, we should go to the hospital.
With the advent of technology, which proves that there is no problem without a solution, what are the procedures that are needed to follow in treating these listed silent killer diseases?
Treatment could be achieved through living healthy lifestyle. Avoid smoking, reduce alcohol intake, don't share sharp objects with people, avoid scarification marks, don't reuse needle. Make sure you don't get blood that is not properly screened. Don't indulge in risky sexual behavior. Then for fatty liver disease and even sleep apnea, weight reduction through regular exercise, healthy diet. We also have to be careful of drug abuse. There are people who just go on counter and buy drugs without prescriptions. So, or use of herbal concoctions. So when we do all this, can damage our liver, can cause liver problem. So we should not indulge in use of drugs indiscriminately. We should create the habit of going to hospital once in a year, do medical checkup. This will help in preventing any of these silent killer disease at the early stage, and then treatment can be instituted promptly.
In order to live a meaningful and productive life, it is imperative to be inquisitive and concerned about one's well-being, as these will give room to a healthy body, which in return have a positive impact on our society as a whole.
All right, it's still weekend, and that was from Ibadan, overhaul of a whole lot of things we have already talked about, and we've been sharing experiences with Doctor. Even though she's not here, a lot of messages are still coming in. Somebody says here, if someone has normal blood pressure but experience left chest and sometimes neck pain, what does that mean? I recall yesterday Dr. Fashion said once you have pain, any kind of pain here, it's an alarm signal, so you must go to your doctor. And another person is advising us here that before we embark on exercises, we should really visit the physiotherapist to understand our body types and then give us the prescribed exercise that we know. And how do we avoid the silent killer, says Janicia Okori. You will get to find out from our next feature. Okay, let's see if we can take one or two more. Please, doctor, if someone has chest pain and is carrying something heavy, does it mean that the person may have heart attack? Well, is Abeokuta ready to answer that question? I'm not sure now.
Anyway, Abeokuta is talking about atherosclerosis.
No, bite your tongue.
Anyway, so many diseases are coming up on the show as we're talking about these silent diseases, and Abeokuta is telling us that atherosclerosis is one of those silent killers that are not even given prominence in the society. So let's get to hear them.
Health, they say, is wealth. Do you take cognizance of your health and go for routine checkup to know your health status?
Most of us are just walking. We don't even know if we are our blood pressure is high or we are diabetic. So doing this regular checkup will give us the opportunity to know what is expected of us, even our food intake.
It is very, very important to go for regular checkup so as to know whether you are fit, whether you are healthy or not.
The heart is an important part of human body. When the heart stops working, man stops living. In our world today, there are so many heart-related ailments, some of which are well known. Meanwhile, according to experts, a particular deadly heart-related disease called atherosclerosis appears not given prominence as a silent killer in our society.
When we have narrowing of these tubes, the arteries, due to accumulation of fatty materials inside of it, that's what we call atherosclerosis. And it's not a specific disease condition on its own. It's a consequence of a lot of diseases like hypertension, diabetes, excessive cholesterol in the blood, and the rest.
According to NCDC official website, more than 1.5 million cases of the disease is reported yearly. This leaves more to be desired to stem the tide on the prevalence of the disease in our society. What are the likely symptoms associated with atherosclerosis, and among which category of people is it prevalent?
Depending on which of the artery is involved. For example, when we have atherosclerosis of the arteries supplying the heart, that is coronary artery. In that case, patients can come down with what we call angina. The patient will feel pain, chest pain, especially when undergoing activity or some emotional situations. Old age is also a risk factor. As people age, there is tendency to build up fat materials in the arteries. But also it can affect young people. If you are young and you smoke a lot, you can also come down with atherosclerosis. If you are young and you have hypertension, you have diabetes, you can come down with atherosclerosis. And also some people, they have some genetic factors that makes them to be prone to atherosclerosis.
Though deadly in the real sense of it, because of its link with other medical conditions, experts says if well managed, it might not result to death. Prevention is better and cheaper than cure. People are advised to shun risky health behaviors and live moderately. A word is enough for the wise.
All right, this show is definitely getting so interesting. I'm trying to go through the messages, and a whole lot of people are asking us for, cure for hepatitis. So someone is asking me clearly, doctor, please, as you're talking, mention the type of medicine, the name we should buy. My dear, you need to do screening first. Did you not hear? Doctor said it. You need to screen. This is awareness campaign we are doing. We're not giving you treatment because you may just go out there and buy the wrong one. You may also get the wrong doses. That's what we just talked about when we said self-medication.
Yeah.
And somehow they think it's cheaper. It's actually more expensive because if you get the wrong one, you can actually have yourself killed. All right, so another person is asking that presenters, please help me tell government that NIHS should include this package. It's very important and it's too expensive for civil workers. All who agree say what? Nay? Eh? They say
We all
I.
agree.
Oh, okay. Say I, yeah?
Yeah.
We agree. Okay, so where do we go to next?
Okay, living healthy. All this discussion is about living healthy so that we can remain alive.
And face our hustles.
Yeah, Nigerians, we love hustles. Okay, before we talk about our daily hustles, let's call for break now and we'll be right back.
You know, Shikiola started talking about our daily hustle, and it's important because they say your health is your wealth. Sometimes we're too much in a hurry to do the needful, including making sure we brush our teeth properly. Yeah, you may be surprised. Halitosis, tooth decay and all of that could come from not brushing well because we're rushing to meet an appointment. Not bathing well, not taking breakfast, all of that, but the daily hustle is real.
And now we're going to another aspect. I believe an interesting aspect of all this discussion. We have a herbalist in the house, Mrs. Chioma Otum, who is going to tell us the role of herbal medicine in keeping alive. And, many people are now going to, from the orthodox medicine to herbal medicine, but there are so many concerns raised about this, ranging from the dispensing of the herbal medicine, the dosage and all that, and I believe she would do some justice to those issues and concerns raised by many about herbal medicine. I can see that she has some medicine, herbal stuff.
I've been busy admiring the table, changing the colors of table. Some of them I don't know but then I see them as very nice looking things. At least I know this one. It's cinnamon.
Oh, cinnamon, yeah.
Cinnamon, yeah.
I know cinnamon. And I think that is black seed.
Which one is?
This
one.
Yeah.
This is what do you call it? Black pepper.
Oh, black
right?
pepper.
Oh,
To say.
I like the shape of this one. It's
the star anise.
Star anise.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, okay. You'll tell me what it is
exactly
later. I want to guess again. This is cumin.
Yes, very correct.
See, I go with
yes.
All right, I would like to actually get it straight up. What is a place of herbs in ensuring that we don't suddenly drop dead?
Yes, herbs are actually very important, and good enough it's available in nature here and there. In fact, we see them, all around, and somehow we just don't take notice of some of them and all that. And then, like I said, they are just available in nature because nature itself is curative and all that. But the idea about herbs is to start early. There has to be a conscious and deliberate change of lifestyle. Growing up, coming up over the years, we're used to junk, fast food, just eat our usual staple food in that it's available in this climate and all that. But it gets to a point when you get older, you begin to notice some funny reactions, like probably knee pain. What's happening? Maybe if you are getting into, as a woman, you're getting into your menopausal years, pre-menopause, you begin to notice hot flushes and a number of things, and you just wonder what to do. And the next thing, you go for drugs. Oh, I'm having headache, I go for paracetamol. It's just that. But going back to herbs, we have them in their natural state. All the nutrients, everything that they come with is already there, not tampered with, not taken through, all the synthetic processes and all that. So it tends to give you the direct nutrients, the vitamins, minerals, and all that the body actually needs in its natural state. And along the line, you just begin to discover, oh, I feel okay. It's working, I tend to I feel okay. Let me just leave it at that. So naturally, herbs
are actually very important to our health. I can combine, I say herbs and spices. We have natural spices available and they can easily be found. If you really, really want to get into, natural remedies, you could do a lot of research. Information is all over the place, and you will get information on even doses, measurement. Like, okay, take a teaspoon of cumin and maybe add half a teaspoon of grounded cinnamon and boil. Just bring to a boil, and then you put off your, fire and all that. You don't allow it to overcook, and then sieve, get into a cup, add honey, and just enjoy your tea. And as you do that, your body will thank you for it, because over time, you just begin to realize, I used to feel this, but it's no more there. I used to feel this, but it's gone. I mean, this thing really works. But life is all about moderation. Use in moderation. Just like, oh, I was told cinnamon can take my cough away, so I'm going to finish this whole pack. No.
One day.
No. Moderation is the key. And like I said, information is out there. You will get doses.
All right, I was going to ask for that, but I know that a lot of us Nigerians were scared of going to hospital. So when we begin to speak doses and we prescribe from, now you see people rushing to go and buy. What we're doing next, Shike?
Okay, as you said, moderation is the key word. And these herbals, they are in their natural form, and you can just take and eat, but eat in moderation. And now we're going to check out this feature about eating healthy by Susan.
A Spanish proverb says, a man who is too busy to take care of his health is like a mechanic who is too busy to take care of his tools. Eating a healthy diet that is full of nutrients will not only improve our health, but also help reduce the risk of developing diseases like stroke, improving cholesterol levels, reducing blood pressure, and manage our body weight. Often, we are only concerned about pleasing our taste buds and not caring about our health. Unfortunately, the unhealthy and convenient food that we consume daily to cut down cooking time poses an unimaginable threat to the body. Eating balanced diet can provide us with the necessary micronutrients like protein, carbohydrates, fats, vitamins, minerals, water, and fiber. This helps to keep the body in good health and serves as protection against chronic diseases. We often eat high calories like junk foods, but in the long run, these may negatively impact our overall health. In most of our homes, we use all sorts of canned foods. Many of these have been proven to be unhealthy by experts.
People think eating canned food, or rather preserved foods or convenient foods, are like handy for them. And they get enticed by what is being, written on the label. Eating natural food, organically grown food, home cooking is the best. That is why you see the prevalence of cancer, diabetes, and other health, problems. They are not healthy for consumption.
To promote good health, doctors advise we eat only organic foods. However, one tends to ask, what is wrong with eating inorganic foods?
We make healthy ingredients. We see, you can go to YouTube channels, you can come and ask a dietitian or a caterer or people that are into the food services and ask them, how can I make this at home, homemade? You can see, you can make them healthy, not in a preserved way. And then you inculcate into your meal, even at home, and raise your children in that healthy way.
I have come across an article that talks about some of the oils we used in cooking. According to the piece, most of the oil used in cooking are unhealthy.
When you overfry and overfry, it becomes useless and it exposes other acids that are not even friendly to our body. So if you want to use oil, use it sparingly. Even eating fried food is unhealthy. They are tasty actually, but they are not healthy. Plant sources of oil are always the best oil to use and healthier, more healthier. The level of saturation is less, than the fat, than the animal, source of oils. Like maybe safflower oil, garlic oil, canola oil, soya beans oil. Those are better. And like olive oil, we know naturally they are even cholesterol-free oils.
Health is no doubt the greatest gift of nature. So, eat healthy and stay healthy. For a healthy outside starts from a healthy inside.
To remain healthy, eat healthy. And Mrs. Chirma Otom is still in the house talking about roles of herbs. And now the question, I said there are so many concerns about herbs, with so many people now preferring herbs to orthodox medicine. One of the issues is about herbs causing liver infection or something, or affecting the liver. So what about that?
When you say herbs, we have, you can place them in different categories. There are people who say they're herbalists and just get into the bush, get different roots, different things. You find mixtures in blue color, pink color, brown color, and all that.
Kai
And with
color.
a thank you, then
Kai
with
kai
a
color.
mixture of the
Kai
kai, and all that. And there are people who just like the taste of some of this, and then of course I've seen some people take it and like, it's horrible, and all that. And who are the people selling this, concoctions? I call them concoctions, to them and all that. You find a lot of this, maybe just street side hawkers, those ladies and all that. I can't really explain it. Just say this is good for, but like I said earlier, information is everywhere. You take a single herb or spice and find out the health benefits and all that, and then use in moderation. Just like I said, you will even get information on measurements. Let me use the layman's language other than doses and all that, and you're good to go. So I think we should avoid those multiple mixture of, like, regularly, it's said Bobonishe. It can do this, it can do that, it can do this, it can do 20 things, it can do 30 things, and at the end of the day, you are just, it may
It's
appear
one bus stop that
yes for
everybody
all,
goes.
and health doesn't really work like that.
But speaking of those who may not be that mobile, you already mentioned garlic, ginger, cardamom, which is this one.
And
Are there other things here we can eat to help our bones? Or?
Yes, you have turmeric.
Okay.
As well, it's good. Even cinnamon.
Oh yeah.
Coriander. In fact, the beauty
Which
of
one here is coriander?
coriander. The beauty of the
This
natural
one,
spices, it's even immune, boosting. It's allowed to combine.
Oh, okay.
So you draw from here, draw from here, draw from here, and it gives you a richer, remedy, so to say. Another, we have lots. There are many. If I start naming them, you have maca powder, you have saffron, you have oregano.
Oregano. Okay.
Where's oregano there?
Oregano, I guess it's in the basket there.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, there. Oregano is really, really good.
So can I combine this cardamom, combine the cinnamon in my tea? Can the pepper go into the tea as well?
It will go.
It can go with the tea.
Blood sugar very well. The black pepper.
Okay.
Okay.
So I have my flask here. I always carry, Where's that little flask
It's
here?
there.
And inside here. Very nice. I have my, you can perceive it, right?
Yeah.
There's the cinnamon, the hibiscus flower, and of course the clove. Am I
Beautiful.
good? It's beautiful, right?
Good.
Okay, since I'm giving the accolade, let me
Just
go ahead.
enjoy your tea. You can do a variety. variety of spice combination for tea. It's good. You are doing a good job. You are doing a good job. And I'm sure people comment.
Yes,
like,
so,
you're
like
looking,
you said, my
you're
body is thanking me.
Are you sure? How old are you?
I'm
You know,
I'm
like
going
that.
to 16.
Can you imagine that? I mean, this is awesome. It's real and it's actually very good. Keeps you, you know, mind, body, spirits, everything is just intact, you know.
And she
All
wants
right.
to live as old
Let's-
as Methuselah. That's what she told you.
Yeah, I told you in the morning that I want to live longer than Methuselah. But some people
Oh,
are still
longer?
asking, yes, longer than Methuselah. I need to break a record.
Thank you.
All right,
You were
I'll just
sharing
take
an
one more question
experience.
from our
Okay.
this thing. Somebody says here, presenter, you asked the doctor about bitters, and the question has not been answered.
Okay. One thing with bitters that I know, it's like it's actually brings down majorly sugar.
Okay.
Anything bitter brings down sugar, you know, and all that. And then it helps to quell a lot in the body system. If I don't want to delve into the doctor's professional, you know, level and all that, but I know bitters are good. This dates back to like more than 2,000 years, when there was even no orthodox medicine for people to use. A number of people did bitters because it will go into various parts of your body to do its work. Apart from bringing down sugar level, it helps, you know, your pancreas, helps your liver, helps generally even your bone and all that. Bitters are, you know, like an all-round the clock touch here and there.
Okay, earlier you were sharing an experience about blood sugar level, how you use garlic to bring down your blood sugar. But the concern of many about garlic is the fact that it smells. Someone like me, I don't like garlic because of the odor. So how do you bring down the odor and be able to cope with it? Many people can't just cope with that smell.
When you take garlic raw, fresh, that's when you really have that experience. But I can tell you, if you get dry garlic, or you get garlic and dry, especially when we are in the dry season, you can do that. Get garlic, dry garlic, very well grind and even store to use. You can use dry garlic in your tea, you can use it in your food. The smell is highly reduced. Highly reduced. In
What
fact,
about the potency?
It's still the same, still very effective. Still very effective. Like, I don't know if I could talk a little about
our time is almost up. And before we let you go, I want to quickly ask this. People talk about orthodox drug and this herbal. Can it be combined?
No. We don't encourage that because of contraindication of, you know, and all that. No.
Okay, so if you are orthodox, you should stay with that.
Yes.
Have you ever heard about you not being able to serve Mammon and God? Face one side. All right, so we'll be speaking with Mrs. Chioma. But Tom, thank you so much. I did say that it will be a whole lot of information packed this day, especially with regards to the herbs, and we've learned a whole lot. And to tell you what, come in-house and find out, we two women here, we have a whole lot, you know, to be celebrated. If you come to my kitchen, there are so many. In fact, I have shelves of pots. You know, I can stand them like this, stand them like that.
Exactly.
And, yes. Give me a thumbs up.